Well, I got a real doozy for you today, but before I get to that, I just want to say thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. That's right, Squarespace, a leader in the web design industry for over 20 years. Whether you want to show off your interests, start a side hustle, or finally dive headfirst into that new business, Squarespace makes web design easy. Using their AI-powered website builder, you can make your own fully functional professional site. Just answer some simple questions about your personality and industry, and Design Intelligence will handle the rest, creating a completely customized site loaded with all the features you need. And if you change your mind and want to make some changes, Squarespace's Fluid Engine allows you to easily drag and drop elements, all without doing any coding. Plus, if you're trying to sell some products, whether they're handmade or digital, Squarespace has e-commerce tools built right in, as well as an intuitive inventory management system. So if you're somebody who wants to join the thousands of other people who've used Squarespace to make their dreams a reality, just go to squarespace.com/brandandtenold or click the link in the description and sign up for your free trial. Then, when you're confident your site's ready for launch, use the promo code BrandonTenold for 10% off your first purchase. Alright, let's get into it. Last year I talked about the movie Nightmare Weekend, which I thought deserved a spot on the So Bad It's Good Movie Hall of Fame. Well, guess what? I found another one. I'm so excited I don't even want to waste any more time, so let's just get to the title card. Boardinghouse is a 1982 horror flick with some real historical importance, because it's said to be the first commercially released horror movie shot entirely on home video, thus paving the way for other craptacular horror flicks like Sledgehammer, Black Devil Doll from Hell, Video Violence, and Las Vegas Bloodbath. And I got it on this nice Blu-ray, because if I'm gonna watch a movie shot on an early 80s VHS camcorder, I need to see that shit in HD. This one comes to us courtesy of writer, director, and star John Wintergate, a man who was able to make a movie armed with nothing but a dream, a camcorder, and a house full of women willing to take their clothes off for very little money. Made for just $10,000, this appeared on more than just video store shelves. It was actually transferred over to film and played in movie theaters. And it had a poster that came with the tagline, "Where the rent won't kill you, but something else will." Alright, well I think if you tried to get a house in Los Angeles today, the rent actually would kill you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a warning.
Hey, come on, the movie can't be that bad. I've seen Space Thunder Kids. Alright, actually he's talking about a William Castle-style gimmick, where either a gloved hand or a whooshing synth tone will happen before the violent scenes. If you needed more evidence of the budget being low, the credits look like they were typed out on an Apple II computer. This movie is so cheap, the main actress couldn't even afford a last name. And check out this music. That's not bad, actually. Kinda got a John Carpenter-y vibe to it. Anyway, as far as the plot setup goes, some more computer text informs us that in 1972, a professor specializing in telekinesis and the occult died mysteriously in his home along with his wife, and their teenage daughter was institutionalized. Even though their deaths were ruled to be accidental, some convenient flashbacks show us that they were actually murdered by a cheesy VHS camcorder ghost effect. More text informs us that in the 10 years since then, anyone else who lived in the house ended up dying mysteriously, and that now ownership has been transferred to Jim Royce, played by writer-director John Wintergate, who I think was Sting's stunt double from Dune. Before we get to that, though, let's learn more about the house's history.
It's the Hoffman case. Do you believe in evil, in evil powers, thoughts?
Well, that laugh sure makes it seem like he does. Oh, and if the opening music had a John Carpenter vibe, check this out. That was the worst rendition of the Friday the 13th theme I've ever heard. Well, there's the warning glove. Let's see what they thought was too intense for some people. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart or people who hate seeing sausages get wasted. Oh well, time for Jim to see his new house. And he's got big plans for this place.
Girls, girls, girls. If you're between 18 and 25, unattached and beautiful, then I want you to share my 10-bedroom house with me.
Yeah, that's right. He's gonna turn this place into a regular Playboy McMansion.
It's gonna be a real bachelor's paradise.
Why do I get the feeling this bachelor paradise is just gonna end up being him sadly jerking off to a Sears catalog alone? Wait, what am I saying? Of course he'll get some tenants. What woman could possibly resist this guy's new wave yuppie chic? Not only that, but he's been experimenting with giving himself psychic powers. In his undies, of course. For example, he just learned how to astrally project cocaine up his nose. Oh, and he can also move things with his mind. Great, now move some fucking clothes on, you're at work. Yeah, that's better.
Do you always dress that? I mean, what, is that a new style or something?
Yeah, punk, Joel.
Yeah, I don't think bleach blonde rat tails were ever punk there, pal. And holy crap, I was wrong. Jim did find a bunch of girls to move in with him. Must not have been a lot of places for rent in LA back then.
Oh, our little auditioning outfit for the stage?
No. Why not
Casting couch.
Now, girls, you can talk about how you got roles in this movie later. Right now, you got some moving in to do. You know, I mentioned Nightmare Weekend, but the plot setup here of a bunch of young women moving into a house where a bunch of weird shit happens is kinda similar to that movie. Although instead of a talking hand puppet, we get this.
Why do you use this cheap stuff?
It's not cheap.
Then do mine.
So, we gonna start banging or what? Oh, looks like Jim's got another tenant. It's some glasses chick who hasn't got her she's all that makeover yet. Unfortunately, there's no more rooms available.
Isn't there even a basement or an attic or something?
Well, you could try the crawl space. Most of the women here are probably gonna end up there anyway. Hey, there's Waldo. And what's this? Lighting cigarettes on the stove? Old hash browns lying around? Oh, this place really is a bachelor's paradise. Unfortunately for them, the VHS ghost doesn't appreciate not being invited and decides to play Poltergeist Joe Pesci from Goodfellas. Oh man, you got my ice pick dirty. Now I gotta bury it in the backyard. For some reason. Despite that happening, nobody seems that bothered by it. Just like they're not that concerned about the weird gardener walking around the property.
I know you explained to us about the gardener that he comes along with the house, but are you sure that we're safe?
I don't know, you rented a room from this guy. I think the gardener's the least of your worries.
Hey, you saved my uncle's life in Vietnam.
Yeah, he served in the same unit as Mike from The Executioner Part 2. He's on the up and up. Oops, looks like I spoke too soon. I think the gardener wants to see some bush. And it's 1982, so they're not gonna be trimmed at all. Hey, you know what this movie could really use? Yeah, that's right, hot leg shaving action. And whoa, lady, use some shaving cream. Boobies. Wait, what the hell's going on now? Is this place haunted by an evil spirit or a spirit Halloween? Well, looks like everything's okay. No need to look for a new place or anything. By the way, the gardener is also played by John Wintergate under the name Hawk Adley, which is a name straight out of an 80s porn. Actually, if it weren't for the gore scenes, I'd swear that's what I was watching right now.
I guess you're the gardener, huh? I thought you only work at night.
Not all the time.
Oh. I heard you were a veteran.
First calf. Da Nang. No.
You know, I always wondered what would happen if Cheech and Chong got into a teleporter accident. And hey, we're half an hour in. Let's add some more subplots.
Oh, Cindy. Why'd you have to run away?
I don't know, maybe she got tired of your constant voiceover narration. So this guy is an ex-boyfriend of one of the girls in the house who's now trying to find her. And in his defense, if one of my exes hooked up with Captain Banana Hammock here, I might be a little concerned for her safety too. And oh my god, it's a spooky ghost! Oh, wait, never mind. Meanwhile, one of the girls is out cosplaying as sexy man in the yellow hat, and she decides to throw a party at the house and invites a band to play there.
Well, Jim, my new landlord's throwing a wild party. Sort of a housewarming, and he asked if the band would like to play.
Sounds great. Are there gonna be any girls there?
Yeah, but there's a strict dress code. Your underpants gotta be either leopard print or tiger print. No zebra print, got it? Oh, right, the ex-boyfriend plotline. The guy hires a private investigator to look at the house to see if Cindy's there, and it seems like everything works out great for this guy. Not only does Jim let him in right away, but he also gets to bang one of the girls in the house. I would say this is the luckiest guy in the world, but it seems like it's about to run out. Damn, and that guy was just 2 days from seeing Loverboy at the LA Forum. Okay, so apparently the house has a VHS ghost and the killer from a 70s Giallo movie in it? I don't know. By the way, I should mention that according to John Wintergate, the movie was originally supposed to be a horror comedy, but the distributors wanted a straight horror movie and demanded he cut a bunch of scenes out. I don't know if all the deleted scenes were comedic in nature, but I do know that while this version is 1 hour and 38 minutes, there's another cut that runs an hour longer. Okay, I've never seen that version of the movie. It's not included on this Blu-ray, although some older DVD releases have it. But all I can say is, yeah, they were completely correct to trim it down. You're making a shot-on-video horror movie, not The Godfather. Also, while I think most of this movie is unintentionally funny, and John Wintergate is pulling a bit of a Tommy Wiseau by saying it was always supposed to be a spoof, there are some parts that are definitely comedic, like Jim's bumbling assistant who seems like he's straight out of an old sitcom. And there's lots of parts where you can tell stuff was cut out.
Did you talk to Goldfarb?
No, oh, yeah, I talked to Goldfarb the other day. Listen,
Deal's on?
yeah, deal's on.
Seamless editing. But hey, we got more important things to get to.
To new friends.
To hiring a maid for this place.
Yes.
You know, none of you seem to have jobs. Instead of hiring a maid, you could just try cleaning up after yourselves. But wait, if they were busy cleaning, they couldn't learn more about Jim.
He listens to these real weird tapes.
Really?
Yeah.
Like how weird? Like rock and roll weird?
No. Mind control.
Mind control?
Yeah.
Mind control.
Oh, really? You're telling me a guy who looks like this, who runs a harem out of his house, is maybe into some weird cult leader shit? No, come on, not Jim. Seriously, this guy is like David Koresh if he was played by Rod Stewart. The other girls send Victoria to get his mind control tapes, but she ends up getting caught. It's no problem, though. Now he can impress her with his psychic powers.
Watch.
Nice one, Jim. Now when you go to prison for running a sex cult out of your house, you won't have to worry about dropping the soap.
You mean you just made a move with your brain?
Oh man, I wish I had a brain I could move stuff with. Well, at least you got one of his tapes.
It's really interesting, though. He's different than any guy I ever met.
Well, yeah, but I'm not sure that's a good thing. And whoa, what the hell? When did this turn into the California Bimbo Massacre? Okay, guess that's it for that scene. With all the weird goings-on in this house, detectives Afro and Aviators here decide to investigate. Hopefully they'll arrest Jim for thinking he could pull off that pirate blouse.
How'd you like the house?
It's fine. It's really fine, you know. It's got a bad rep, man.
What do you mean, bad rep?
Okay, even though I'm glad this movie isn't an hour longer, there are still lots of parts where you can tell stuff was cut out. Oh, what's going on now? Are we getting some more paranormal activity? Nope, just bimbo dumbassery. I think something supernatural does happen, although with the effects quality here, I can't tell what's supposed to be real and what's a prank. And geez, no wonder the rent on this house is so cheap. It's right next to a day-for-night graveyard. You know, considering this is a Blu-ray copy, with how dark this is, I'll bet people who saw this on VHS were just looking at a black screen for 2 minutes. Hey, don't be afraid. It's just Farmer Vincent asking if you want to taste some of his fritters. While I'm referencing other horror movies, she finds a bed in a graveyard, so, I don't know, phantasm? See, it was all just a dream. Now I'm just waiting for the tall man to show up and go, girl. Oh, right, the ex-boyfriend plot. Turns out the reason Cindy left is because her boyfriend was controlling and abusive. Although, honestly, I don't know if she's that much better off with Jim.
What is this, a harem?
Oh.
Yes. Cindy should get the hell out of here just based on the decorum alone.
I don't understand this arrangement.
I know, this place is tacky as fuck. As if this movie didn't already have enough subplots. Victoria tries to give herself psychic powers too. Keep practicing, Victoria. You'll be snorting astro rails in no time. Oh, never mind. Looks like they're already kicking in. By the way, did I mention that John Wintergate wrote and directed this?
You have a really sexy body. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm. You know, I think if this guy and John DeHart from Champagne and Bullets were ever in the same room together, the resulting ego clash would tear apart the very fabric of reality. And hey, there's a great idea. Spend a relaxing day at the beach with surfer Keith Raniere here. Alright, we're an hour in and so far the body count's been pretty low. And we haven't seen that glove warning in a while. Better fix that. I'm not sure why they use it for this part though. This girl just bleeds all over herself and then walks into the ocean. Oh man, I hope I didn't get any blood on my cheetah thong. I only have like 50 more of these. By the way, no one seems concerned this girl's gone now. Jim randomly finds a note saying she went back to her ex-boyfriend, and everyone's just like, okay, sure. Whoa, hey, what you got there, Victoria? And oh, okay, never mind.
What's the matter with you? Did you have a rough night last night?
Victoria seems a little jealous of the other girls. Not sure why, she's married to John Wintergate in real life. And wasn't there a subplot about a band performing at the house? Oh, there they are. Alright, for payment you can take 2 Schlitz cans out of the fridge, but just 2, okay? While we're bringing back plot elements, the VHS ghost has been pretty quiet, and apparently it gets off on watching people vacuuming. Okay, I already mentioned Nightmare Weekend, but for another bad movie comparison, the combination of psychedelic effects and characters just randomly having psychic powers also reminds me a lot of Blood Beat. The main difference being that instead of rural Wisconsin flannel people, the characters in this movie look like enemies you'd beat up in a Streets of Rage game. Victoria apparently has psychic powers now too, although she's gonna have to work on her skills. She can't move stuff without somebody throwing it at her from not quite off screen. Uh-oh, looks like the glove killer's about to murder Victoria's cat. But you know what's really scary? The fact that John Wintergate thought we needed a shot of his junk upside down. By the way, the cat's dead. The movie really wants us to think the gardener's the one killing people, which means it's definitely not him. But what's with the VHS ghost? Matter of fact, what the fuck is with anything in this movie? Wait, what? Victoria's the killer? Oh, thank God. It was only a bad movie. Okay, looks like it's time for that housewarming party. The band's all set up, and their drums look like Hot Wheels tubes, so you know they gotta be good. Lots of people are invited, including Victoria's agent? Okay, I don't know how good this guy is. The only gigs he got her after this were an episode of Night Court and another John Wintergate movie. Which, by the way, is also included on this Blu-ray. Have to see if that one's worthy of an episode. Wow, even the cops stopped by the party. Although instead of beer, they just brought bad news.
We found her on the shore, dead, 2 hours ago, washed up.
Cindy? Dead?
Oh, I can see you're really torn up about it, Jim. Well, forget that. Let's have some music.
33 1/3.
Yay!
I prefer this band's original name, 2.5 The Smell of Fear. Anyway, what's their music like?
Love the old evening, you know what to do. Just make up your mind, then see it through. Against the ninja. Against the ninja.
Oh, and turns out the gardener's not the killer. His only criminal activity was selling weed and toilet wine out of the back of the panel van he lives in. And hey, we haven't had that glove warning in a while. Alright, now they got some grape eyeballs for their Halloween party. And you know how this was originally supposed to be a comedy?
Ah, yes. Nothing I like better than a little head and some coke.
Hey, quit making my riffs for me. Wait, now this guy's hooking up with one of the girls? Didn't I already see this guy fucking Night Beast? Okay, there's a few minutes left, and a lot of you are probably thinking, what the hell is going on? Is there a ghost, a serial killer, both? What's the deal with this house? Well, get ready for the answer.
You must never go back to Mother and let her take me off to that awful place. Do you understand?
That's right, it's this chick that's been killing everyone. And now she looks like she stepped out of a John Michael Thor video. What?
You're Deborah Hoffman, Debbie.
Yes! Yes! This is my house!
So the story is that Debbie is the daughter of the two people from the beginning who had psychic abilities of her own, and after having an incestuous relationship with her father, she used her powers to kill her parents as well as anyone else who moved into the house. And I'm not gonna lie, there is the germ of a good idea for a horror flick in there. They just needed a bit more than 10 grand and a VHS camcorder to bring it to life. She's also the one who escaped from the insane asylum earlier, although the text at the beginning said that other people were murdered in the house in between her parents and Jim moving in. So how did she do that if she was locked up? Did she use her powers to kill them from the asylum? And if she could do that, why would she even need to escape and move in with Jim? And you know what? It's probably best not to think about it too much. The point is, there's only one way to defeat Debbie, and that's a psychic cokehead battle, which involves a lot of sniffing and a smoke machine. You know, I don't know how I thought this movie was gonna end, but yeah, I guess this fits. I'm just waiting for Jim to announce that he's the intercessor. And so Debbie is defeated and the movie ends really abruptly. Okay, yeah, there's some more text, but who gives a shit? Alright, there's no point in discussing whether or not this is objectively a good movie. It's a low-budget horror flick shot on VHS. I mean, you already know the answer to this. The real question is it worthy of a so-bad-it's-good movie night with some friends? I'm gonna say yes. It's amazing. Imagine if your swinger uncle took some of his Key Party home movies, shot some new footage with some props he got from a party city, and then somehow combined them all together into a horror flick. This is a movie that the word gratuitous was practically invented for. Gratuitous nudity, gratuitous video effects, gratuitous musical numbers, gratuitous nut huggers. You name an 80s cliche, and this movie has a ridiculous amount of it. This belongs right up there with the Nightmare Weekends, the Blood Beats, and the Things as far as low-budget what-the-fuck 80s horror movies go. And once again, I can make all the snarky comments I want, but the fact is, John Wintergate took 10 grand and a camcorder, and he made himself a horror movie. And now more than 40 years later, I'm talking about it. So, congratulations, man. I do gotta wonder, though, how much of that 10 grand was spent on Speedos? Well, it's all for now. Until next time.